One of the big things that DFC, or Drug Free Community Support Program grant, wanted us to do was to, in order to help prevent and reduce substance abuse in the community, is involve members of the community. And they divided those members up into 12 different sectors, whether that be law enforcement, health, government, parents, volunteers, youth, and adults. Whatever those 12 sectors were, that would be the motivating or the action factor, I guess, that would be involved in reducing substance abuse, and carrying out the projects, the programs, the events, activities of the coalition. And RISE Group has played a major role in that, in carrying out all of the various activities. I don't know of one activity that we don't use our youth or that our youth are involved in. While I'm standing here, we got two former RISE Group members here. Do y'all want to come up and have a word?
Don't feel any pressure or anything.
Yeah, don't feel any pressure, but come up here anyway.
Both of you get up at one time. Come on.
I was told we don't do anything.
You all have to stand.
Oh, yay! Will, Katie.
I don't know how we could not have them.
I think didn't you say that you would pay them $100 a piece if they would do that?
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That would come out of your pocket.
I was left out.
You're on TV, so give us your name.
My name's Katie Carrico.
My name's Will Carrico.
And tell us a little bit about your past experience with RISE.
I was a member for 5 years, I think.
Oh, well,
Like 5
probably
years,
longer. Yeah.
something like that. I did a lot with the, every year I participated in the,
Last.
there we go. And we did the farm safety day, and kick butts, and we had a lot of fun.
Katie was always the shy one. We could never get her to open up. But when she came out and when she got involved with RISE, she just took off. She just now you can't keep her shut. Okay, Will, he was he always we have a program called Prevention Tactics, and Will, I'll never forget. And listen, I'm gonna forget the name of that program.
Get Real Tonight.
Get Real with Will. It wasn't that.
The Will Carrico Get Real Tonight show.
The Real Deal.
The Real Deal with Will Carrico.
The Will Carrico. And he played the night show host. That was his introduction into the Youth Coalition, and so he did a fine job with that. Say hello, Will.
I was under peer pressure that time.
Do y'all?
Pressure, Will.
Yeah.
Did you obtain any leadership skills? Do you think that helped you with RISE? We do a lot more now than we did with y'all then.
It helped me out a little bit. I mean, before that, I really never got up to speak in front of anybody. It gave me a little bit more confidence to do it.
All right.
It is a good program for people that don't have any leadership skills or get up in front of people and talk to them about stuff.
Thank you. And we thank y'all for coming to this dinner. It's always good to have y'all, our former RISE youth leaders
Do we
here.
get paid now?
Yeah, hold your hand.
See your mom after.
Not happening. Not happening.
You know, and that's funny because I think that we said at one time that we were going to have some former RISE youth members speak at,
Reunion.
and do a kind of a reunion thing with that, and that's still a good idea.
What I said I wanted to do.
I guess, and we're still working with youth. Wilma and I will be working with the youth through in June. We have a conference on what they call Innovate Act conference coming up in the middle of June, and we're taking what, 4, 6?
Probably about 6.
About 6 youth over to Lexington to participate in that. Guess what? That was supposed to be like a one-day thing, and well, it'll still be a one-day thing, but we were just going to drive over and then come back. But for some reason now they want us to come over and be there, so we get to go the night before and spend the night, and then the kids will actually get to speak to the adults and the law enforcement that day and share with them how we get things going here in Washington County. Then the second event is the last week of June, and that will be actually on U of L campus, and that will be through Passport, and the kids will be staying on campus, and I think they want us to share some things down there, what we're doing in leadership. So our kids, our Rise Youth Group, are really building a name for themselves for the things that they do and how they impact our community. It seems like they just, wherever they go, they stand out and people take notice of them. And part of that is the leadership that Wilma gives them. I won't say me, but that's part of that leadership that she's built into them and worked with them on. And the attitude that they already have about, I think these youth really care about other kids their own age and those that are even younger. Because where's Hannah? Hannah was at Safety Day, well, along with Zach and Elizabeth, and they all three spoke to the youth. They gave me a little time. Alex, sorry about that, Alex. They all gave a little of their time to, we had a little break right after lunch, and they just kind of asked us to impromptu speak to them about Safety Day. Well, it turned out from Safety Day, somebody put a magnet in my hand. I think woman put a magnet in my hand, and so I just began to talk to the kids about the fifth graders that day about, what have you seen? In the conference the day before, they said that we never listen to our youth. We don't listen to our youth. We don't know what we don't know what's on their minds. So I just asked them, I said, well, have any of you ever been approached about alcohol? Just about every hand went up. What about smoking? Every hand went up. Am I right, Al?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And marijuana. Some of them had even been approached about marijuana. What are some of the things, and I didn't make these questions up because I didn't know I was going to do that day. And I just asked them, I said, well, tell me some of the things that alcohol, about smoking bothers you. And some said, well, I don't like the smell. Some said, well, it builds up the nicotine and tars build up on the wall, on the carpet, and on the ceilings, and it makes the whole house smelly. Then another child said, it takes time away from us. It takes time away from family. I said, oh, how so? Because it takes, when they go outdoors to smoke or they go into another room to smoke, then that takes time away from us. Then I asked them about alcohol, and they says, it destroys homes, basically. I asked them, well, how does that destroy a home? It causes fighting. Too much money is being spent. Can't pay the bills. You know, these are some of the same things that are brought up in Strengthen Families when I work with youth in the Strengthen Families program. And that kind of leads us into the State of Coalition speech. I guess I'm supposed to make. But as of June 30th, Woman Eyes positions as director and coordinator will no longer be for the drug prevention program. And so then I stopped and talked to Sheila yesterday. Isaac, you're not gonna leave me with all this, are you? You and Wilma will be gone. And it's like, I remember one of the conferences that I went to in CACA in the training for this grant. And the grant leader that day asked us, "What are you going to do when the grant money runs out?" I said, "I guess I'll be out looking for another job." He says, "Oh, so you'll just go out and leave the coalition high and dry." Well, he made me feel about like that.
But that's what you're doing.
No, that's what you said.
Shrink him down.
Because at this point in time in my life, people have assumptions and you just assume.
I'm sorry, Isaac.
But I've always been a person of responsibility. And people have always just assumed that we get paid to do this. But nobody in here gets paid, except for women and I, to do this. The kids don't get paid to do this. I still have a home here. I still have a house here. My home is with my wife. I still have a house here that I occasionally get to stay in. I don't know where all this takes us, but I still have responsibility because I still have this thing in my head of money. And you see how much money on that paper, some of you got, you see how much money we spend out of Kentucky Agency for Substance Abuse? You see how much we spend toward different activities. So one of the things right now, I'm caught in between. I'm working with a supervisor at work and preparing stuff for her, for the coalition to present to her so she can present it to the board. And vice versa, I have to get back with Sheila on stuff. What are we going to do with things, where we're going to go from here. I'm still chairperson for the Kentucky Agency on the Kentucky ASAP board. They're asking me to stay as chair on that. I said, well, that's up to you. So it's not like I get to throw down anything. Just because the Board of Education says you're gone doesn't mean that I'm gone. You know? So I'm not making any promises. But as I look and see children have always been a passion. And their safety and welfare has always been something, a prime thing in my life. So we still have a responsibility, I still have a responsibility, making sure that these funds that are still at the Board of Education gets back to the coalition. So I got a breakdown on some coalition funds, and I'll just bring those. We have a little less than $450 in one grant. Another grant, these are all ASAP grants, but they're just different periods. We got a little over $3,500. Then the third grant, we have a little over $3,600. And then in the fundraiser that we did, the coalition for the coalition, we have $1,509. So it's giving us a little over $9,000 there. On top of that, the Partnership for Success grant that Wilma talked about, Washington County share in those funds, even though we may not get to decide all directly how that is spent. Seems like Tara and Wilma are working on that mostly. But they ought to get input from the coalition on that. Is $33,000 next year this year, between June 1 and May 30th next year, 2014. Yes, grant, we're still going to get a grant, get grant money coming in June, July, $1,300, $1,364 on that. We're still getting another $5,840, the other half of one of these grants that I previously mentioned. And then I put in, wrote for permission to apply for a passport grant called IHOP. It's what is it? Outcomes program, or Outcomes for Prevention program that we'll do on that, health and outcomes on that. So I wrote for that, and that's for $75,000. I was hoping that would that the board would extend us through till September. But that doesn't look like it's gonna happen. If it did, then I was gonna ask the board if they would be the fiscal agent of this grant. That would pay Womanized salaries. 75,000 was a couple of more $1,000 added to that. So we may be looking for another fiscal agent if we get the permission to write the grant from the passport, and if we successfully write for that part. So that's why I say, I don't know, you can't count me out 100% yet. So it's a matter of whether we can find us a fiscal agent prior to submitting that grant.